welcome to today's new episode of Brokercast. My name is Garry Wilkinson. I'm Specialist Relationship Manager in the healthcare team. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Bovell, who's also a Specialist Relationship Manager in the healthcare team. So in today's Brokercast, we're going to be focusing on children's day nurseries, which are going to see some significant policy changes, not least in the government support in the next few months and years. So that's what we'll be talking about today. So Brian, we launched our specialist children's daycare nursery offering, I think, in September last year. So in those sort of 7.5, 8 months since then, how do you think things have gone?
Hi, Garry. Thank you. So I think we are still in the building phase of the product, in the sense that, we've got some deals on the go, but, the purpose of today is to kind of increase that profile for sure. But I think, taking a step back on the healthcare team journey, where we started when I joined a couple of years ago with elderly care, we made a couple of iterations to that policy, and now, that's pretty much entrenched in the market and working well. We then followed that up with our specialist care policy, and then the next kind of obvious evolution of the healthcare team journey was to look at children's day nurseries. And Allica Bank had a policy in place, but we felt, given the policy changes that were coming externally with the government, etc., we felt that we could kind of update that, which we did, as you mentioned, at the tail end of last year. And really, the kind of purpose of doing that really was kind of the final piece of the kind of care jigsaw, if you will, whereby children's day nurseries obviously looks after children, specialist care, elderly care. It kind of captures that care sphere. We've got some exciting opportunities that we're working on at the moment, and we're keen to get the profile raised to get more, of course.
Great, and I think, as you say, that the reasons for enhancing it is that probably increased demand, I think, coming up on the sector, a lot of which should come on the back of the increased or more government support that's coming out. And I think it's fair to say as well that we've seen quite a large increase in interest and inquiries in children's day nursery applications in the last few months, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. So within the policy itself, when we were looking at it, we were very keen to be inclusive around both first-time buyers and experienced operators. So the first-time buyer policy is very much designed with those that have some sort of link into the sector, whether it be people that have degrees in children's education or children's backgrounds, or people that be working in a senior setting within a nursery, or social work, or childminders. So I think first and foremost, that definitely set us apart from the competition, where we designed something that was tailored for those new entrants, to try and support those new entrants into the sector. We were also looking at experienced operators as well, to come up with something competitive. And I think it links nicely into why we view this sector as one that we really want to support. And it does come from those government changes that you've described. So at the moment, typically kids that are 3 years and onwards get their 30 hours government support. There are certain circumstances where kids younger than that, do get some government support. But predominantly the majority of the market is that 30 hours. However, the government in March 23 announced that they were looking to implement a phased approach, with initially bringing 15 hours from 2-year-olds onwards, increasing to 30 hours from 9 months onwards. Now, that will be completely transformational to the sector, Garry. That will take, potentially an average bill of 2 children in full-time childcare, where you've got a couple of £1,000 a month bill, and listen, that could be average. It could be slightly less, slightly more, but that funding should significantly reduce that cost down. As I say, that average £2,000 potentially could be £500-600 a month. Now, if you are somebody at the moment looking to get back into work and trying to kind of have an incentive to put children in that childcare development setting, that that is going to be transformational for you, where it's a considerable cost benefit. You should have then the incentive to work, and of course is naturally going to result in a supply and demand issue in nurseries, where we expect nurseries to see a substantial increase in demand. Now, we're not naive. We know that there's going to be challenges, there's staffing challenges already in the sector. There could well be availability of supply issues. So we're not walking by that. But certainly as a consumer and as a sector, we think that it's really going to be buoyant over the next few years with these government changes. Now, unfortunately, it is only at the moment in England, and me being in Scotland would have loved to have seen that adopted. I've got 2 children that are in full-time childcare, and it would have been transformational for me. But certainly for the English market, it's going to be a massive change. And we think for operators who may need finance, there'll be a real link in there, and we've designed something to support that.
Yeah, and we know that here at Allica we're committed to supporting the market and also the brokers that help people in that market. And as we said, it's a truly vital sector for not just the wider economy but families as well. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, listen, you're right. It links into everything. If you've got people that have seen childcare as cost prohibitive, and it's meant that potentially a family member, has not been unable to work or reduced hours or whatever the circumstances may be, because it's a significant outlay. Some would potentially argue that it's almost cost effective not to go to work, and that is principally wrong. So the changes of the funding, as I say, should hopefully create that motivation to a degree where somebody goes, what, I can work. It's going to incentivize me to work, and if there is nursery operators out there who are looking at financing, acquisitive, or looking to increase capacity, then we potentially could support these transactions.
Yeah. And when we look at lending in the sector, it's not always straightforward. And what would you say are the key factors for experienced operators and first-time buyers when they're looking for finance?
Yeah, so sorry, go back to your broker question. So I think, principally this is a market where finance exists in different spheres. And when I talked about the first-time buyer, perhaps going to a broker and having that communication with the broker will allow you to go to that whole of market and test. And listen, we sit within that challenger space, and we, have certain competitive elements, but we're not saying that we are a one-size-fits-all bank and everything will be the perfect bank for every client. That's not necessarily the case. What we do want to be is be the first choice for our brokers to go if they see a nursery deal that they pick up the phone to us and we have that informed conversation. Now, by having that Allica team who are specialists within healthcare, and understanding the changes in government policy, understanding the challenges, which I'll talk about in a second, it should hopefully give us that enhanced reputation that brokers can go, listen, Allica have got an offering here, but they've also got that expertise and their knowledge. We can talk to the team, and moving then into the challenges, as I alluded to earlier, yes, the government funding is going to be transformational in many ways, but it's not going to come without its challenges. We know that potentially nurseries are already at capacity, and potentially with increased supply, increased demand, you can see situations where consumers are potentially needing to wait 12, 18 months or whatever the number is because nurseries can't cope. So that is, of course, going to be an issue, and I'm sure good operators or those that can see opportunities in the sector will try and fulfil that demand over time, potentially with increased capacity or acquisitions or whatever it may be. And conversely, then you've also got staffing challenges. The staffing within children's nurseries. Listen, you're looking after children all day. You're going to have a passion. Children are inevitably, variable. They're high demand, high need. So those that enter the sector as staffing, probably need to have a passion for the sector, because, listen, let's be honest, there is easier jobs out there, Gary, that probably pay comparable wages. So the sector is going to have to adopt to that as well. They're going to have increased demand, which as a result is going to need increased staffing, and operators will need to find ways to attract staffing into the sector. Now, listen, I've not got a crystal ball here. I don't have all the answers just now, but going through that child process, there's qualifications that are required. It's not just a standard job. You can really get immersed in the sector and get really strong qualifications. And you'd like to think the good nurseries would support staffing through that. And yeah, just thinking outside the box about how do you make it attractive. And listen, we will work closely with the sector to see how those things are evolving and changing, and we'll adapt, I'm sure, as well if we need to.
Yeah. What are the opportunities for operators when they're seeking finance? So again, first-time buyers and experienced operators.
Yeah, so I think it all links in. So first and foremost, first-time buyers will potentially be seeing an opportunity where perhaps there is that increased demand. So it may result in a first-time buyer looking to enter the sector. Now, that's obviously more difficult in the sense that from our point of view, we don't yet fund development, but there may be opportunities where there is externally, going back to that broker market conversation, where a first-time buyer perhaps maybe wants to explore building out a nursery, and then potentially, if they do that, we can be that second exit down the line when it's a wee bit more established. Conversely, you may find children's nurseries who have got management teams or ownership structures that are looking to exit with this new phase. They may say, listen, this is a new phase, this is not for us, now's a good time for us to exit, and now needs new fresh blood as we're coming into a new phase within the childcare offering. So again, that might result in first-time buyers looking to take over existing established nurseries from those that are looking to exit the sector. Or there's those that are just experienced operators that may be wanting to release capital either to buy another nursery. There's maybe poorly performing ones where they think that they can make an acquisition and buy a nursery maybe that's in close proximity to their existing premises and increase capacity that way and adopt. The list is to a degree endless.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Brian. And I think probably to sort of end on, I think it's worth flagging, because obviously we do a lot of work with our broker partners, and how important a role they play in this in terms of guiding the potential clients in terms of structure, what information they need to provide, how they need to sort of prepare for applying for finance. So I think that's probably an important point to make as well.
You're right, Gary. So for first-time buyers in particular, we do look for them to do a business plan, and that's as much for the first-time buyer as it is for the bank. We want the first-time buyer almost to do that research, understand what they're buying, document what's good about the business, what they think they might be able to change or modernise with the business, and then really that should translate into numbers in terms of a 12-month financial profit and loss and forecast. And again, what that does is it allows them maybe to understand in a wee bit more detail about just their numbers. What is the expected income, what's their cost, how's the cash flows going to work. And then they can translate that across to the bank and be more confident about it, so that when we're looking to make an application for them for finance, we can be confident talking to our underwriters to say, yeah, listen, these individuals have done the research, they know the business, they know their numbers, we can make that business case. And brokers are instrumental into that journey, because they will have potentially other advisors that are experienced in the sector, such as accountants, that can walk them through that journey. They may have templates. But in addition, the same can be for experienced operators, where quality of information is absolutely vital. And listen, this isn't a criticism of experienced operators. Experienced operators typically know their business inside and out, but sometimes that always doesn't translate into information, because it's kind of all in the mind and they know it. But But from a bank perspective and finance, kind of we don't know it, and then you kind of have to get that knowledge that's up there down on that bit of paper, and kind of be able to explain it across to somebody that's completely alien to their business. So again, brokers can be instrumental of kind of putting all those bits of the jigsaw together, all those ingredients, getting it down and saying, listen, this is what banks want, this is what you need to get, let's work together so that we can package it and get it across to the bank. And listen, it is all geared towards that positive outcome. All we are trying to do is make the process as simple as possible and least path of resistance to get you that quick outcome, because that's ultimately what everybody wants. Everybody wants to know that maybe the bank's there to support them to move on whatever they want to do with their plans. And you're right, Gary, brokers can be instrumental in their experience in assisting on that journey.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, I think that's probably a good place to end. So that's the end of our Brokercast, and thank you for watching. And if you've got any questions, obviously get in touch with your business development manager. And thank you.